This video's name is the FN PS90, the monster truck of bullpups. Seriously, I'm going with that name. It just fits so perfectly. Here's what I mean. You've seen the monster trucks, right? What, 1,000 horsepower, 1,500 horsepower, loud, sounds so cool, spewing smoke, squashing cars, jumping 30 feet in the air, I don't know, maybe higher. They're pretty cool. They're fun to watch. And I think every single one of us, when watching monster trucks, would go, I want to drive that someday. That looks fun. I do. I was like, that looks like such a blast. I want to go squash cars. I want to drive that around. It's so huge. It's so ludicrous. I want to be a part of that. That's how the FN P90 and PS90 series is to a lot of gun owners. It's the monster truck of bullpups. It's full of second cool. I mean, just look at this thing. It is still rad looking. After all these years, futuristic, special, modern. It's a head turner. It is. It's the monster truck of bullpups, of tactical carbines. Here's why. You take this to your local range and shoot it. Well, heck, you don't even have to shoot it. Just sit there. Put it on your rest and just hang out and watch what happens. Because every guy in the vicinity has always fantasized about driving a monster truck, has always fantasized about shooting a PS90. And here they see one in the flesh, yours, and they want to be a part of it. Maybe they want to pop a few rounds. And they're going to ask you, hey, how do you like it? Is it everything it's cracked up to be? And you will be the focal point of all the attention at the range. It's a cool gun. It's a cool gun. And nothing I will say in this in-field barricade review here in TMP will change that. It is a completely valid reason to own one. And there's a lot of young people who grew up playing with P90s in their video games, shooting them in whatever game you want to come up with. Modern Warfare, I don't know. I'm too busy living real life to go play video games. But on the upside, and I have mentioned this before, video games have actually done a really good service to the Second Amendment community. Because these kids who became teenagers, who became adults, and now who are in their 30s or approaching their 30s, know this gun. They know AR-15s, M16s, AK-47s, you name it, through the exposure of the electronic arts. That's good, because then they become gun owners in real life. They join the NRA, they help us defend our gun rights. You know how I feel about all that. But having played the P90, the select fire military version in video games, they're intrigued. It's like a monster truck. They're like, oh my gosh, check that out. There's one in real life. I've never seen one. You know, because they see how this gun, this bullpup, which broke all the rules in design. It did. Look, the whole bullpup is completely melted. Its purpose is to be a personal defense weapon. You know, for armored crews, RIMPs, typists, cooks. All right, I made those last two up. But maybe special ops occasionally, protective details, teams. They just started afresh and wanted to find something that was better than the 9mm, that was easier to hit with, easier to fire, that had a longer range. And so they came up with a P90 around 1990. And so when those guys see this gun, it's just like it all comes back. The monster truck rally comes back. I'll tell you, it does with me. Every time I've seen a P90, I still like it. I love how it looks. So second cool, I mean, it maxes out the scale. It really does. The P90 is super cool. And I'm saying P90, but you know, I'm talking about the PS90 as well. The difference being this is a semi-automatic civilian version, 16.1 inch cold hammer forged barrel. The military version has about a 10.5 inch barrel, same quality, integrated muzzle brake, same. The military version, sorry, is a lot cooler. They do have an SBR version, I think, which is that one, semi-auto only, that I think you can get. And it was designed to be no wider than a man's shoulders. Now this, civilian version with a 16-inch barrel kind of blows that out of the water a little bit. It's a cool gun. I mean, it maxes out the scales. Okay, so everything I'm gonna say from here on out, remember that. But we're here to find out a little bit more in this in-field review. Because I consider a thing called first cool, practicality, functionality. How does it compete with other guns of its size and weight? And that, my friends, is why you watch TMP. Because I don't give you horse shit, I just give you the truth. As I see it, my perspective, and that's all it is, my perspective. But I've been shooting thousands and thousands of rounds for a long time. I have a consistent philosophy when it comes to without rule of law, survival guns, home defense guns. Heck, for that matter, I have a ton of cops who watch me. Team rifles. Is the FN PS90 the best PDW out there? Would I go out and buy one? Let's put second cool on the back burner for a second, shall we? But would I go out there and buy one of these and consider it my go-to GTW bullpup or a replacement for a tactical carbine? Would I choose it over a Tavor, an RDB, a Desert Tech? Good question. Good question. And for that, I guess we got to consider the cartridge, which I love. I love the 5728. So today we're going to be shooting two loads. We're going to be shooting the civilian load, the SS197 SR. And yes, I paid 30 bucks a box for these suckers. That alone makes me sad, and we're going to come back to it. And by the way, thanks for the loaner from Gunny's, the Great American Gun Store, for this. It is on loan. This is not mine. In fact, this is Wyatt's dad's gun. Yeah, it's his gun. And then I'm shooting this American Eagle. And no, these weren't comped. I bought those too. I just spent another $2,000 on ammunition. That's what Patreon's for. Go to TMP Patreon, $1 a month, $5 a month, link below. It is really the only reason I'm still working out here for you guys. It's a lot of work. I'm out here for 10 hours a day, working my butt off. Patreon, support it. It ain't YouTube, for dang sure. Back to the focus though. Best PDW ever, 5.728. You're stuck probably with the SS197 round. I'm not chronoing now because the video will go too long, but 2,100 feet per second. I would say out here at my elevation, I'm gonna get, I don't know, 20, 30, something like that, 20, 30, 5.728. It's in competition with another obvious contender. Okay, we're talking about first cool. We're talking about go-to-war capabilities, talking about ballistics, ballistic efficiency. What's its obvious competitor? The AK-47, Nutnfancy? No, you're wrong this time, sir. Sorry, that is not it. It's a freaking AR-15 pistol, says me. Or anything that approaches its size and weight. It's SAWC. SAWC is size and weight constraints. It's this, right? So this is a build. It is an Aero Precision lower. It's a Palmetto 10.5 upper. Reviewed, check out the review. It's just really a high value, excellent AR-15 package. It's running an SBA3 brace on the back. And then my scope is an 800-364 Weaver, previously reviewed. The watch is the Oceanaut Naval in orange, link below. So excellent. Oh my gosh, is this a great dive watch. Oh yeah, anyways, I'm getting carried away. This is its competitor, says me. It is slightly heavier, but not much. But it's firing, I think, a much more potent round that's less expensive, readily available, the 5.56. Okay, so if you're going to launch into a PS90 for first cool, really think about it. This isn't a bullpup. This is a standard AR-15 pistol with a brace, but but it's pretty darn compact and it's pretty lethal. So I have a sound forward deflecting cup right there. And let's just take a little shot with this one right here. I don't know if I've zeroed this one in yet. Probably not. I just put it together a couple weeks ago. Now, ballistically, when it gets to the target, I think a 5.56, especially in a heavier loading like, I don't know, 77 grain, it does the job well for its size. The downside is it can ricochet, it can over penetrate, and some law enforcement agencies don't like using 5.56 except for special applications. You should probably think the same way as a civilian sheepdog. If there's a chance of ricochet, over penetration, I don't know if a 5.56 223 is your best option. Capable, absolutely. Best option, it really depends. Back to the FN PS90 and its 5.728 loading. A lot of people like this because it doesn't have those same problems. It does shoot flat, but when it gets there, I don't think it has a ton of power. That's just a feeling I get out here in the desert. I could be completely off. For instance, I will shoot this plate at 40 yards with the FN PS90. The load is a 40 grain SS197 SR. Take a listen, dudes, okay? And then tell me if it doesn't sound similar to a 22 Magnum. About, maybe a little bit more oomph. It's faster for sure. But as far as hitting power on the steel, I think 22 Magnum at this range. Now, as we step it out, if I shoot at 150, 200 yards, the 5.728 is going to dominate the 22 Magnum. Again, it's laser-like in its drop. Very little drop out of it. But in comparison to its competition, the AR-15 and a 5.56, for me, this comes in second place. A distant second. A distant second. Remember on my tabletops what I say when I'm reviewing a 308 battle rifle? That's right. I'd rather go with a sapper, a 308, than an AR-15. Anytime SAWC will permit it, I'm gonna stack up, I'm gonna rack up with a sapper. More ballistically efficient for my ranges out to 500 yards, can penetrate obstacles. It's a fight stopper. There's no question about its hitting power. It's damage when it gets there. And I'm talking about just FMJ. And then as we go down in power, and then my SAWC closes in on me. And by this, I mean, now I can't take what I want. Like I always said, I take food, armor, other stuff, multi-tools, water, comms, first aid stuff, and I'm hiking over this area right here, just like Red Skies. Okay, now I'm not taking that 308 anymore. Usually. It's just too much work, dudes. Hope you can hear me. It's just too much work. Now I'll take my AR-15, and what do you know, I'll take a 77 grain load with me. Would I trust this in this type of environment as my primary weapon? No way. I wouldn't. To me, this is a 100-yard gun. It can stretch out well beyond that for sure. But I mean, if you look at the cartridges, they're just tiny. There's not a lot of powder in them. I mean, look. Here's a look at the polycarbonate magazine. This is a 30 rounder. You can get them in 50. I just looked it up, and they were like only 25 bucks. That's pretty cool. Innovative magazine. I mean, the rounds store 90 degrees to the gun, and then they rotate for presentation into the chamber. Look at how tiny that round is, though. For a pistol like a 5.7, makes more sense because we're really looking at SAWC. I don't have a lot of room in a pistol, but now we've gone to a 6.5 pound bullpup. That's my point. Don't get me wrong, I love the rounds capability of this, and that is a big selling point of the PS90. A big selling point. So if you live in a free state, you can have 50 round magazines. You know, I would consider that. I don't think loading the magazines, by the way, is that fast. It's not slow, but it's not something you can do like an AR mag. It just takes time. Yeah, I'll roll some footage of me loading it. And then I find that to make the loading easier, shoot this mouth with a little bit of, I don't know, lube, like WD-40. You're not supposed to do that. Well, I did it, just a little shot, and it worked awesome. And it dries up real quick, so it doesn't matter. And I'm out here in the dirty desert, and it still didn't attract dust or dirt, whatever else your worries are. Recommended. That's how the magazine seats. There's 2 retention lugs back here. You gotta pull them. And that drives to the point how the PS90 is actually a really excellent and designed to be so ambidextrous bullpup. So the safety is mounted in the trigger guard right here. It's basically a rotational disc. You have ambi charging levers right here, left and right side. They're very low profile, they won't snag. You've got a Picatinny rail, sits above the bore axis here. You can attach lasers and lights on it, and we can attach apparently really sucky optics too. Yeah, I freaking hate this optic. It's a Vortex Spitfire, and if it was up to me, I would take it off, put it on a concrete slab, and drive over it with an M1 Abrams tank, and then I would hit it just to be sure with a flamethrower. That way no one else would ever make the mistake of putting it on their gun. This optic blows. Link below if you think I'm wrong, buy it from Amazon. I would never buy this optic. It is so bad. All right, I'm taking a deviation here, but it has fisheye to it. It doesn't have great clarity. It's just a really weird optic. I mean, I feel like I'm looking, well, through a fisheye when I'm shooting through this sucker, which will drive to the point when we accuracy shoot the PS90. Don't expect much. I don't even know if I'll do it with this optic, and I didn't want to mount something else on. Time to shoot. Enough talking, nothing. Let's go. Barricade review. Lots of shooting. I didn't try to zero this thing yet. It's coming from, again, Gunnies. And so I'm just taking it out of a box, whatever they had. So I'm trying to hit this plate at 150. I think I'm missing. God, I hate that freaking scope. I shouldn't say it's that bad. Maybe I wouldn't hit it with a flamethrower. I still would drive over it with a tank though. I just don't like it. I mean, it's got concentric circles, 2 of them, and the inner one is thicker. It just, I don't know, I just don't like it. It's illuminated. That's a good thing, I guess. Now notice this too. When you're shooting the PS90, it's a really cramped affair, and it's designed to be that way. So close quarters, maybe not inside a vehicle. It's actually designed to store in a vehicle, like an armored vehicle, well, and then pop out and then it engages. But when you shoot it, like all bullpups, you're really right up in it. Good and bad. You might like that dynamic. How does this work right here? So the forward grip. We've talked about how cool it is, right? It does look cool, organic, different. I would, if I'm going to give it on camera, like 0 to 5 stars, 5 being completely awesome. As far as my hand size, I have large size gloves. I'll give it about a 2. Yeah, I don't like it that much. I think it's really cramped and it's not as awesome as I thought it would be. Just different. And with the 16-inch barrel version, the PS90, your tendency is going to be to come up here, which you can do. The barrel hasn't gotten that hot on me, but it's designed to be shot like that, right? And there might be some you know, add-ons to the PS90 that I'm not really going to consider. Here comes some SS197 SR, the FN load I showed you before. This is a good time to talk about the price of the dang ammunition. When I did my preliminary review on the FN PS90 pistol, ouch, my knee, ouch, 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 ouch. I talked about in 2009 that I didn't think it was going to succeed. I'm still sticking with that. I mean, that was 10 years ago, and I called it. I said, this gun is not really going to be successful because the ammunition is going to stay expensive and it's going to be hard to find. That's pretty much been the case. Until it gets widespread adoption by Well, a major military force, 5728 just is going to stay where it is, a niche cartridge, and I don't think that's changed. I mean, it has come down a little bit, I guess, and guys will tell me online you can get, you know, lots for lower prices, and that is, you know, worth looking into. But versus 556, it's no competition. I mean, I can go to Walmart and go in and buy AR ammo, maybe not for 5728. And then, you know, if I'm just buying it from your store, spending 30 bucks a box for 50, dang son, that's a lot of money. I mean, I'm getting like match prices there for a match 556, more or less. So that's a downside. Then with you guys, if you have an AR-15, another consideration is now you're introducing a completely different system. Different caliber, different magazine systems. How do you store these magazines? How do you carry them in LBE? They're long, right? I mean, these magazines, this isn't an AR-15 mag. Check this out. How are you gonna carry that thing? Good question, Nutn. Hey, Nutnfancy, they have specific pouches for them online. They might, I didn't even look. But even if they did, dude, it's gonna be sticking like up here. Doable? Yes, everything is doable. Ouch. But, just a consideration. Just a consideration. Now let's consider how that magazine puts in, by the way. You see me slamming it, and it does take some slamming to get in there. If you just push it down like that, it ain't gonna happen. You really gotta seat it hard. Like that, see that? Not a big deal, just something to consider. And did I mention I love the 50 round magazine? I do, it's pretty cool. It's like that gun that had that rotary mag, was the Coleco Arms. Remember that one? That was cool. I think that went out of business. I guess it wasn't that cool. If it's really cool, it stays in production, right? Correct. How's the trigger, Nutnfancy? The trigger is actually pretty good. Better than I thought it would be. I would give the trigger, if we're doing it on camera, 5 stars is like totally awesome. Considering this is a bullpup, 3.5 stars. Yeah, it's not too bad. It's a bullpup, so there's more linkage, there's more distance to travel. And you'll notice, by the way, the cartridges are coming out here behind my grip. And really cool, they just drop in one neat pile right here. If you care, I like that. Trigger's decent though. The interesting question is, how would a regular scope mount on here and how would it look? So something like this. So it'd come up here. I think a small one like this Weaver tactical scope, it would work. And I'd really like to shoot this with that scope on, but it's not in the cards for this review. If I was, you'd probably hear me hitting a lot more out there at the long range target. Ouch. I know, I keep complaining, my knee's not doing great today. Now, as far as the overall feel, I talked about its melted appearance, right? And it does have that. And by melted, I mean it has no sharp edges on it. It's designed to not catch on clothing or tactical nylon or I don't know, whatever's inside the armored vehicle. It feels pretty good. I mean, once you get into it, I talked about the grip, I still don't love it. Are you one with the weapon? I don't know about that. Let's not get crazy. But overall, it feels pretty cool. There's your rubber butt pad. Maybe I'll roll in a photo of what it looks like field stripped. Really narrow in profile. And the muzzle brake, the integrated muzzle brake is okay. Am I in love with it? Not really, but it's a really tiny cartridge. Again, look at the case capacity of that sucker. Hey, Nutnfancy, there's not much to it. I know, there isn't. And then if we compare it against, get a round out of here, and then we'll just do a comparison of an AR round. See, look at this, dude. This is what I'm talking about. For this, basically the same weight, which one do you want to be fighting with? Okay, we're just talking first cool. I mean, I've established the gun is like dripping with second cool. This one, even in a standard 55 grain load, bro. Totally. I mean, the ergonomics on this thing is amazing. I've always said I'm not a super fan of bullpups as far as shooting them. I'm kind of back to that again, by the way. Man, this thing shoots good. Holy freak. Can't shoot that 40 yard, I'm too close. I will ruin my target. Couple rapid fire shots with a Palmetto AR pistol. Reviewed. Love it. Go to Gunny's, they have the kits there. They're selling like crazy too, he said. What do I have in this? POF trigger. It's a POF trigger. That's what I threw in the build. More recoil. More noise for sure out of this AR-15 pistol. Different form factor. I'd rather shoot this than the PS90 though, for sure. Ouch. What's up with your knee, Nutnfancy? 4 surgeries, that's what's up with it. All right, now we go to accuracy. And I was gonna go over to the bench and really settle this thing down. Nah, just for more video efficiency, let's just do some rounds right here on paper. Let me show you what I'm shooting at. Okay, so this is kind of field practical what I'm showing you. So we're gonna pop some rounds at that sucker right there. And then you and I are gonna walk down together in this raw edit video, which everyone seems to love, because you're out here in environmentals of the desert with me. And we'll see how I did. The load I'm shooting is, again, the SS-197. And I am absolutely going to do my best of representing this gun. I always do. Always do. And I suspect out of the quality barrel that FN puts together, this thing has a lot of accuracy potential. The problem is, am I going to see it with this optic? I don't think so. God, this optic sucks. It's supposedly 1 power, illuminated, I think in green. Oh my gosh. Sorry PS90, I just don't know if I'm going to represent its accuracy well enough in field here. But let's go check how I did. I'm pretty sure it sucks. Not the fault of the gun, pretty much the fault of maybe my rest, because my rest isn't like totally awesome. So this barrel is rated for 20,000 rounds, FN says. I've raved for years about the quality of FN barrels. They are amazing. Cold hammer forged. I love them. I don't think I've ever brought an FN gun to the table or the desert that, at least in terms of accuracy, wasn't really awesome. And I think this PS90 has the potential, not represented here, of being really accurate. Watch me not be on paper. Oh my gosh, that's so funny. I'm not even on paper. All right, again, I inherited the scope, or I should say the optic, from Gunny's. And I'm laughing because I see this a lot, that guys will put optics on their guns and I'll use them. And if I don't check their accuracy, this is what I get. Gosh. That is so funny. Oh my gosh. You can see that mini IPSC plate down there. See it down there? Yeah, it does blend in. Big time. All right, we got a group. Looks like it's shooting high. So what we did is, okay, we have a group. Actually, we have two groups. It's right here. So this is what we just shot, and here's our original group. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I didn't see him. Because, I mean, I shoot this target all the time. I thought that was from another gun. But this is our group. We actually have accuracy for the PS90. And that's just offhand. 1, 2, 3, 4. Again, FN loading. I'll give that really good marks. Out of this optic, which I'm going to run over with an M1 Abrams. All right, I'm going to load up another magazine and we're going to shoot some more as we have some final thoughts on if this is the ultimate personal defense weapon, the FN PS90. I did talk about how this does not exactly instill confidence in me as a go-to-war round. I'll stick with that. But check this out, and I do want to make a point of this. It is very lightweight. It's much smaller than the 5.56, right? So we got to give credit where credit is due. The 5728, when SAWC is super critical, might be the best option. If you need to carry a lot more rounds, maybe this. That's why I said in my BOK, favorite BOK guns right here on the barricade, that I might consider and put into use an FN 5.7 pistol in this cartridge. Heavier than a 22 long rifle? Yes, definitely. 22 Magnum? Yep, a little bit more. But in terms of those, well, rimfire cartridges, this is a winner. It dominates them, but we're kind of considering this as its competitor now. I am, at least in this review. But it's lightweight, and you got to give credit where credit is due. And that may drive to whether you would get one or not, the PS90. A lot of countries are using this gun, by the way. Not the PS, but the P90 select fire standard version. Like 40 countries, US Secret Service uses it. The Houston Police Department, I believe at one time, was using P90s. So it has a really good track record. Here we go. Got to really smack it. A good track record from what I know. It's just, I would say probably smaller agencies, fringe departments. I shouldn't say fringe, but we need like a major military force to adopt this caliber for it to come down in price. You know, something like the US Army. It won't happen, but let's say the US Army goes, hey, we just adopted a P90, you know, and then I think the caliber then might take off. I still like the caliber, don't get me wrong, but we're talking about a gun of this weight, 6.5 pounds. Is it the best PDW ever? It is the monster truck of bullpups for sure. Now that I know this is shooting high, maybe I'll just aim really low. Maybe I can hit that plate out there. Here's the problem though, I can't see the dot. That sucks. So the dot in the center is green. And my grass, you guessed it, is green. I was shooting with a 5.7 one time and we were hitting it like 200 yards, but like a 22 Magnum, you have to really listen because it doesn't hit that hard at that distance. Shoot this Evil Roy. Can you hold it out here? Sure you can. As long as you don't come up in front of that muzzle. Notice, by the way, that barrel rotates a little bit. Look at that. It's part of its easy takedown. I don't think it affects anything. It's just the nature of the business. And this is, I guess, cast metal here. You can kind of see some casting marks. I don't doubt FN quality at all. The magazine seems high quality. The overall gun feels tight. It doesn't feel like an airsoft gun at all, in case you're wondering. The PS90 is tight. Toit. Notice it's level, not a lot of muzzle climb, really controllable, and that was another selling feature of this gun to the militaries, that it's controllable, a lot more so for smaller statured shooters, maybe some female shooters, and yet it has that terminal ballistics, at least shorter range, that they were wanting. Shooting, it's fun. I'm not going to say it's not fun. It's pretty excellent. FN at one time was carrying a tri-rail version of it. I think it was called the TR. That's been discontinued. I think you can get this in black or OD. I would go with the OD if I could. I like colorized guns. It makes me happy. Oh, darn it, dude. Another downside is I don't really have an indication that's happened. With the bullpup design, I don't have a bolt that's locked open to the rear like I would an AR-15. Notice it just takes me by surprise. Oh, I'm out of rounds. And that drives to the question again. Is this, the P90 series, in this case the PS90, the best personal defense carbine ever? No. Not in terms of first cool, it is not. We've talked about the cartridge. It's just my opinion. That's all it is. Take it for what it's worth. In comparison to a 5.56, maybe a 5.45 Russian. That's all I'm saying. When we go against some other loadings like 9mm, then our 22 long rifle, of course, 22 Magnum, the discussion is going to totally change. But in terms of competing against this, maybe another 5.56 bullpup like an RDB, I don't know, man. I would probably not choose it on terms of first cool. Unless, of course, ammunition weight was super critical. And then I might. Now, in terms of second cool, the answer is yes. I would buy a PS90. It's just a cool gun. It's fun to shoot. It's just a great collectible. It has a history in video games, probably movies. It is the monster truck of bullpups. It really is. It's just fun. It's a really fun gun. Now, I didn't really attack philosophy of use too heavy in this, but briefly, it could be a really good vehicle gun. It is lightweight. There's no stock that needs to be extended. You just come out, engage. There's probably no reloading you'll have to do if you get a 50-round magazine. This one's a 30-round magazine, which I hate. I mean, 30 rounds is good, but the gun is designed for a 50 round. That's a standard capacity magazine with a PS90. Yeah, it could be a truck gun, vehicle gun, a motorcycle gun. For me, it's too heavy. I just bring a pistol. Too heavy for a BOK. Go to war option. No, not for me. I'll go with this right here. I don't want to turn this into an AR-15 review, but yeah, for the same size and weight, this is what I'd choose. I think most of you guys would. A little bit of rapid fire. Oh yeah. Still a very cool gun, FN PS90. Worth the money, both the cost of the gun and the ammunition money. I like it more than I thought it would. You'll just have to figure it out. It's not cheap, but I'll tell you what, it's cool. The monster truck of bullpups. Thanks for joining me in field barricade review. Thanks for being part of TMP Patreon. See ya.